150,000 riders from around the globe embarked on the Zwift Academy journey. Now, just 10 contestants remain for the finals.
I just feel so lucky that I'm here.
I've come all this way from Australia to win this pro contract. I'm not going home without it.
To win, they will need to impress the pro team judges.
We are really looking to see some aggressive racing.
And the professional cyclist superstars from Alpecin-Fenix and Canyon SRAM.
They're not going to get this opportunity elsewhere, and they're not going to get this opportunity again.
Come on, what are you waiting for?
It's the opportunity of a lifetime to win a pro team contract.
2 of you will be leaving the competition tonight.
This is the Zwift Academy Finals.
Starting tomorrow, it's going to be war.
Coming up, the finalists take on the pros.
Today we're going to do a sprint lead out. Would be a bit embarrassing if we lose this one.
There's heartbreak at the hill climb.
Devastated.
And the pro team coaches have some tough decisions to make.
All of a sudden, he can do it.
Hello and welcome back to the Zwift Academy Finals, where once again our contestants will be aiming to prove themselves to the judges in a bid to become a professional cyclist.
As the sun is rising behind us here in Mallorca, the riders will be busy kitting up for what's ahead, so I guess we better go along there and tell them almost everything they're going to be doing on the bike today. Good morning.
Morning.
Hope you're all feeling nice, fresh and recovered after yesterday, because today you have got a long day in the saddle. You're going to have a fast endurance ride with some intense intervals and some skills-based tests.
That's right, so the coaches are going to be scrutinising your bike handling ability as well as how you can perform key skills that you'll be faced with in a pro race.
So you're going to have a fast pace line and there's going to be a sprint.
You will not be riding alone today. You will be joined by members of Canyon SRAM and Alpecin-Fenix. So female finalists, you will be riding alongside Elise Chabbey and also Neve Bradbury. So not only can you strut your stuff, you can also learn from 2 of the best.
Male finalists, you're actually going to be joined by 5 riders from Alpecin-Fenix today. And so midway through, you're going to go head-to-head against them in a sprint lead-out. You will need to decide the order of that lead-out and indeed who's going to try and beat Tim Merlier, Giro and Tour de France stage winner and one of the fastest riders in the world.
Yeah, now if you need any tips, then Dan and I will be available for a short period of time. We can tell you what not to do and also how to lose every sprint, every time. Good luck.
Riding with guys like Poel and Tim Merlier, it's not every day you get to do that.
I think it's about a 4-hour endurance ride. I think there'll be multiple tests and challenges along the way, from what we've heard.
Jeg kan niet meedraaien dan, It's going to be nice to catch up with them, chat with them, get to know them a bit better, and for sure today we'll see a bit more how they handle on the open roads. So today we're gonna do a sprint lead out. We're gonna do it with the pros against the Zwift final academists. So I think it would be a bit embarrassing if we lose this one. So we're gonna try and do our best to set Tim up for a good sprint and take the win.
The fast endurance ride will take our finalists and pros on a rolling 104-kilometre long route along some of Mallorca's pristine roads. Early on, they will be doing their race pace drills and also the sprint lead-outs. To finish though, gruelling hill climb strength efforts and one final sting in the tail.
Yeah. There's more Aussies than anything else. Yeah.
ride, do what you love doing.
Of course.
Man, like, that's all you can do at the end of the day. So, Zwift Academy for me was a form of escape. My mum was diagnosed with ALS at the start of last year, which is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, a form of motor neuron disease. And so my mum's diseased state progressed. She passed away in July of this year. I just felt empty. And it was a blessing that Zwift Academy for 2021 came about in August, and it was a way for me to escape what was happening to me in my life again. I was able to focus on holding the watts and doing something that wasn't thinking about what was happening to me. It was a blessing, and I put everything into those sessions, and I have never pushed myself so hard in those sessions. It was just the ultimate self-esteem boost, confidence boost that I needed in a time where I felt really low. And then to be told that I was a finalist and that I was going to Mallorca and that this is all happening is just, it felt like my world had flipped on itself, but for once it had flipped in a positive way. And so to have this just feels like I've won already. So, yeah.
No, I'm really excited, man.
Yeah, it's good.
I haven't done too many leadouts, so it's pretty exciting. Like, it'll be cool.
Yeah, me either.
The only leadout I've done is with, I was a one-man leadout for my sprinter.
Yeah, so I'm like from a small town up in Queensland. It's about 1,000 k's north of like the Sunshine Coast, Brisbane area. Yeah, my family's been heaps supportive over the years. You know, with mountain biking, they drove me around the country basically to do the National Junior Series, and Dad rides himself, and Mum's like, you know, I was doing the Zwift racing, and what she really likes about that, she can just be there with me, and she's like gotten so into it.
Come on, push it, push it.
She gets like so enthusiastic. It's really cool. She's like, "Go, Alex! They're attacking. You have to follow." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
Keep going.
Through your whole journey, you have lots of people help you just for free, and to like be able to win this contract and pay them back, especially my family. Like, you know, they've given up so much, they've sacrificed so much for me, and they've just completely believed in me, which is absolutely amazing. Like, I can't ask any more than that. I mean, this is a life dream, you know.
I've been cycling since I was 9. Since then, I almost every year competed at the Dutch Championship. From all the championships, I've never been off podium. And one time, and all the other years, I became second. I have a habit of becoming second, so I hope I can change that this week. When I won the Dutch Championship on Zwift, it was against older women. I was only 14 years old. I look up to Kasia Nieuwedoma and, well, the rest of the team. I mean, they are all amazing. Also Neve Bradbury, who took the win last year. She's amazing. Winning would mean the world to me. I would get to my dream when I'm only 18 years old. Well, I can't wrap my head around it. It's just amazing. I mean, I would be a pro cyclist at least for a whole year. Well, I don't know. It's just amazing. I don't know. It's just amazing.
With the riders approaching the 50k mark, it can only mean one thing. It's sprint lead-out time. First up, the male finalists take on the mighty Alpecin-Fenix train.
Okay, so what's up next? We are going to do a lead-out of 2Ks, the Zwift Academy guys against the Alpecin-Fenix guys. And I'm looking forward to see who is going to take the win.
The course is a flat stretch of road where the teams will ride head-to-head in 2 single lines. It's a drag race. Each rider sets the pace in turn and then peels off when they reach their limit. The only aim is to deliver their most explosive rider to the finish for an all-out sprint for the line. To stand any chance against the pros, our finalists will need to work out their most effective lineup for the lead-out. More explosive riders at the end for when the speed is at its peak and they're riding against Mathieu van der Poel and Tim Merlier. No pressure then, guys.
You worked it out, yeah? Who's doing what?
I have a brief idea.
Yeah. My sprint's not very good. No.
I think I would be happy to start it off. Slowly build it up. That's fine with you guys. How about you, Alex?
And then, what do you think, like, then you after that? Or,
Yeah, I'll go second, so you go first. I'll go second. You said Mads for Cooper fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So Cooper is doing the sprint then?
He is, yeah.
Out of the blocks, the finalists have inexplicably changed their lineup, with Byron not starting out as planned and putting the big engine Sam on the front first instead.
This is Byron on the front now, isn't it? Oh, they've lost quite a bit of ground there, haven't they?
There is no lead out left from the Zwift guys. Byron is gone.
3 guys. Three against 3.
Our Australian guy.
And it's now up to Alex. This could be make or break, going up against Mathieu van der Poel.
Well, to be fair, Alex versus Mathieu van der Poel.
This is stronger from Alex, we have to be honest.
The Danish Express Mads can't contain his racecraft and has instinctively dived for Merlier's wheel. The rules are broken, but the dream is still alive. That was a big pull from Mads, and Cooper is now perfectly placed to out-sprint a Tour de France stage winner. Or maybe not. A win then for Alpecin-Fenix, but the finalists impressively push Merlier all the way to the line. A celebratory wheelie from Mathieu van der Poel across the finish line.
Next up, it's the women's lead-out, which differs from the men's. Initially, each rider will take 20-second turns on the front at a high tempo. Then, as they come into the final kilometre, Lars of Canyon SRAM will lead the riders out, getting them up to a speed of 45 kilometres per hour before setting the finalists off in an all-out head-to-head sprint to the line. Seriously fast right now.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing what they can do at high speed.
Yeah. A couple of kilometres in, and there are already some gaps opening up between the riders. The pace is high, and it's about to get even faster as Lars moves to the front for the lead out towards the finish line. Caitlin has found herself on the wheel of Lars, with Imogen following, Maud is in the middle, Rachel in 4th place, and Willemijn at the back of the quintet. The first to make a move is Imogen, passing Caitlin, who is visibly already on her limit. It's a long way to the line though, and it's Maud who bridges up to Imogen, bringing the others with her. Hiding well and timing her sprint perfectly though is Willemijn, who takes the win on the line. With the lead-outs done and dusted, we head north towards the mountains.
Are you going to do 2 down under? No.
Whilst the finalists are en route, there will be a surprise at the end of today's ride, a max hill effort on this tortuous climb up to Bethlehem.
Right, so I'm at the bottom of the climb that the riders are unknowingly about to face. And, well, frankly, I'm going to show you all how it should be done by using Mathieu van der Poel to demonstrate. Now, Mathieu, okay, this is going to be a big effort for the riders, a short one, but going absolutely at their maximum. How important is that kind of effort in a race?
I think nowadays, especially in classic races, it's one of the most important efforts if you want to make it in a front group. But for sure, yeah, if you see all the classic races, Ardennes are a bit longer, maybe the efforts, but the Flemish classic races are all about the 1 to 3 minutes effort. So you have to deliver it a few times to be in front of the race.
To win Amstel Gold probably takes about 1,200 for a minute, right?
1,000 is really a lot for a minute, so especially at the end of a race. So I think it was closer to the 800 I told you.
And on that note, it's time for Mathieu van der Poel to show us what awaits our finalists. They will be required to give an all-out max effort up the Col de Pescadores, a 1.5 kilometre long climb with an average gradient of 6.7%. And after a hard training ride, an impressive effort up this climb will give team bosses a solid indication of just what these riders are capable of when they're fatigued.
Finalists, you have shown the coaches your skills in what's looked to be a really tough road session. Looked really tough from back in the car, I'll be completely honest. But the judges want to see more. So before you roll back to the hotel, you're going to finish today's ride with one final hill rep, designed to see how you can perform even in a fatigued state. In short, in a race situation, you're going to be off the front or out the back. Christoph, what's in store?
Yes, after about 3 hours of bike riding now, we just want to see a bit how much power you still have left in the tank. We will let you off over here, up to the climb, 10 seconds in between each rider. Preferred gear, seated, standing, it's all up to you guys. Last one to the top. And then easy to the hotel, ready to relax.
Cool. All right, guys, good luck. Go for it. Let's get set up.
3, 2, 1, go.
Right, go Sam.
Sam is out the blocks first, setting what looks to be a ferocious pace. Can he show the coaches that he's capable of a higher cadence than in the fitness test? With the explosive Cooper hot on his tail, he needs to show the coaches that unlike his fitness test, he can ride these 3-minute efforts without overcooking it. And now to Mads, who after an impressive start is making ground up already on Cooper. In hot pursuit, it's the punchy Aussie Alex, but will his efforts clinging on to Mathieu van der Poel in the lead-out damage his chances in the hill climb? And he'll be sensing danger because flyweight climber Byron is chasing him down. The Dane Mads has Cooper in his sights, but after an explosive start, can he maintain his pace?
You were the one rider that didn't have any carrot in front of him because you started first. Disadvantage to you, do you think?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a disadvantage, especially mentally, because with the switchbacks, I could look down the hill and see everyone coming up at me, and I'm like, maybe that's not 10 seconds. I think they might be catching me, and it's a bit of a mind game. But you know, at the end of the day, you just have to go as fast as you can, and that's what I did.
After 3.5 hours, doing a max effort, it's like what we're going to do in races. So
good to get that done. It was pretty cool, like going a full gas effort and having like to take the corners and stuff, and like, yeah, you get into a really good flow.
The men's hill climb results are as follows. In first place, Sam, 3 minutes and 16 seconds. In second, it's Mats with 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Cooper is in third, 3 minutes and 24 seconds. Fourth is Byron with 3 minutes 28. And fifth is Alex on the same time. And now it's time for the women. Finalists, here we go then. You have shown the judges your skills today. That's been a long, hard training ride. You've got one final effort to do then before you can roll back to the hotel.
I'll lead you in that we get a progressive race done here. So I ride like a minute, set a good tempo as before, and then you can put the hammer down.
Okay, so this is like the finale of a race then. You got a whole load of work in the legs. And this is going to be what ultimately separates you to become a professional cyclist.
In a cruel plot twist, performance director Lars has decided to remove the battery from the riders' gearing, forcing them to ride the hill climb in a fixed gear. Brutal. Lars once again sets the initial pace, gradually ramping things up before setting them off to race to the top of the climb. After he swings off, it's Maud who hits the front, setting her own strong tempo, which is enough to see Willemijn already beginning to struggle at the back of the group. The accumulated fatigue from a long day in the saddle is really beginning to take its toll. Soon after, it's Caitlin who decides to pile the pressure on, clearly wanting to try and hurt the others sooner rather than later. And it's a tactic that works. Imogen is the next to lose contact, with Rachel distant soon after, and Willemijn unable to claw herself back into contention. At the front, Caitlin is on a mission. She's opened up a slender but significant gap to Maud, and the 18-year-old will have her work cut out to remain in contention. With the Canyon SRAM pros Elise and Neve watching closely as the finalists near the top of the climb, Maud somehow finds the power to not only bridge to Caitlin, but also to go straight past her. At this point, everyone is at their limit. It's all about who's got the most left in their legs and making sure they get everything out of themselves before the finish line. Crossing that line first is Maud. An impressive performance from the youngster with a time of 4 minutes and 4 seconds. Caitlin stops the clock 4 seconds later to take second on the challenge. Rachel is third with 4 minutes 25. Imogen a further 9 seconds adrift in fourth, and then Willemijn in fifth in a time of 4 minutes and 42 seconds.
It was really hard. Yeah, I gave everything. I'm happy, of course. I'm really happy that I was able to push after hard training.
It's better being warmer now than being cold, because it's just going to be easy in the grip. And
despite impressing coaches during the sprint effort, Willemijn was visibly disappointed at coming in fifth overall on the hill climb.
Willemijn, great effort there, well done.
Thank you. Totally devastated. Yeah.
I probably went a little bit too much in the beginning. I didn't, kind of play it cool. So about 200 meters, 300 meters before the end, Maud came around me and I had nothing left. Elise was like, stand up, stand up. I stood up and I sat right back down because I couldn't. I had nothing left.
I was with you for quite a while and Caitlin was ahead. Yeah. And then you jumped and I was like, oh my God.
The lead out already was hard.
Yeah.
The finalists will now head back to the beach house and submit their data whilst we have a catch up with the team judges. Welcome back, end of day 2. So you've been able to see their skills out on the open road today. We have got an order, but no particular one, but we're going to start anyway with Caitlin. Yesterday in the opening test, she performed really well on the short effort. I think we're expecting stronger performances on the longer one, but again today on the shorter effort, Lars, she was very good.
Yeah, we did long echelon work to see how they work on speed, and she was pretty good in that one. And then on the sprint, she showed that she can ride short and intensive.
And on to Rachel. We noted in the car that on that first pace line, Beth, that she a couple of times did struggle to get back onto the side of the chain that was moving forward.
Yeah, we saw that with Rachel. Also, when they were doing the lead out, I think her efforts at the front also weren't as long or as strong as some of the other riders. And just getting back in, I think that's whether it's just a technique or she hasn't practiced it that much. Not really sure. But you could see that, yeah, that was a bit of a challenge, or more of a challenge for Rachel than some of the other finalists.
Next up, we're going to have Willemijn. Just to remind everyone, our 18-year-old, or one of them that's here. How did she get on the sprint? Because that's her strong point, Lars.
Well, she was first there. She won that, and I think she had even reserved to go harder. Yeah, definitely that is her strength. She was really good on the fast part, and then she struggled a little bit on the last effort.
Next up, Maud, who of course did so well in the opening day test. Very different situation with such a long ride today. 18 years of age, but still incredible on that final climb and the final test.
Yeah, very strong. I mean, she showed no problems on the first efforts, and in the sprint she was probably not the fastest, yeah, but she was there doing her sprint. And she did really well on the strength efforts.
Yeah, you definitely see that she's really quite calm and collected.
Okay, finally then, we'll move on to Imogen. First impressions when you were riding with her, Lars?
Yeah, good. She was very motivated today, surprisingly good on the fast part. I'm not expecting her to be not like the Dutch riders, to be naturally riding in such wind conditions. Just then by the fatigue, halfway, I would say, died on the final.
Thought she might have been closer, just because she did really well in the 3 minutes in the testing. But in the end, not really to go one way or other. She just rode consistent the whole day, really.
Well, that's each of them as individuals. What are you noticing from sort of group collective, both on the bike today, but also off the bike so far?
Definitely as a group, they're really close together. I mean, it's only day 2, but they're actually looking out for each other. They're communicating well on the group when they're doing the pace line effort.
And finally, Lars, without giving too much away, has these first 2 days helped make your decision any clearer yet, or not?
No. Not really. It's difficult, yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us again. We will see you again tomorrow, of course, but I also need to see you later once you've decided who your rider of the day is going to be for day 2.
After expert insight from Canyon SRAM, it's now time to get the lowdown from the Alpecin-Fenix judges.
Right then, guys. Firstly, thanks very much for having me in the team car. That was great. We saw an awful lot, didn't we, from our vantage point. Let's start with the pace line, shall we? First of all, now it looked pretty fast. It looked pretty cohesive. Was there anything that jumped out at you? Anyone that was doing it well or doing it badly?
I think it all went well, and the route was quite technical at that moment. The wind was in the back, so it went quite fast. Bit negative maybe was Sam in the turns and everything.
Okay, and then the lead outs, which was good. I thought, it doesn't matter what I think. What did you think? Christoph, I'll start with you.
Yeah, lead outs are always an exciting kind of drill. We do that quite often on training camp too with the guys. For the Zwift Academy guys, I suppose it was the first time that they had in team really such a short effort where they had to work together. And I think in general that we can say that they managed it pretty well. I remember Alex with a very strong effort to keep up a bit with the pace of Mathieu. Also the sprint of Cooper was very decent. And the others also they managed it well.
Okay, now let's move on then to the final test, which was the max effort after all of that hard work. Now, we've got preliminary results, haven't we? We should stress that these are from Dan Lloyd's stopwatch, and therefore there's quite a large margin of error. But should we start with 5th place first, actually? So 5th place was Alex, which was a real surprise, I think, to me, to you as well?
Yeah, for me as well, because as said, we made an order that we thought, okay, the fastest guys start the last and they are going to catch up a bit. He lost about 12 seconds, which is quite a lot on a maximal effort of a good 3 minutes.
Okay, then in fourth place, this is another surprise, wasn't it? Byron, we'd think is the 60-kilo guy. He'd go up that climb like a rocket, but it appears not.
Yeah, from Byron we expected that he is the best climber of the 5 finalists when it goes about pure climbing. Maybe the effort was a bit too short to show as a real climber what his capabilities are.
Okay, in second place, we've got Mads. Now, he had a slight issue in that he was going so fast, he had to brake for the motorbike, but still, mid-pack for Mads, that's a good ride, and he was looking smooth out there today, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's correct. Today, outside, I think he managed well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, in third place then, we had Cooper. Now, as the designated team sprinter, second place in a 3K hill climb challenge. That seems like a good ride to me.
He did very well, indeed. He was not sprinted out by Merlier, and on the hill he was also good.
Yeah, so that you already had him in quite a high regard, and today makes you think. Yeah. Okay. And then lastly then, a surprise winner, I think perhaps. We've got Sam, our biggest rider.
Yeah, the diesel does it again.
Yeah.
After 3.5 hours of riding, so then it makes sense. It seems like he always has the same kind of diesel power in it. Not that real punch, but the diesel keeps going.
Is a diesel suitable for professional racing? How big is your engine got to be to get away with it, Christoph?
You need a big engine, but you need also, as well, a lot of other things. And maybe... But like today, he surprised again. His cadence on the hill was good. A lot higher than it was on the flat.
Yeah.
So, all of a sudden, he can do it.
Now, it seems like your job today, picking the rider of the day, might be a little bit harder, given that there's no clear hierarchy emerged from that. But have you got someone in mind?
I think we still need to think a bit about it.
Okay, right, well, I'll leave you guys to discuss.
After feedback and analysis from our pro team judges, it's time to pay the finalists a visit.
Hello again, finalists. Feels like we're starting to settle in a bit now, doesn't it? Si and I have been discussing today. We had a great and a very warm time in the team cars behind you all. But in all seriousness, we hope you had a good time for your first long ride on the Mallorcan roads.
Yeah, so obviously the coaches, as you said this morning, were going to be scrutinising your technique first and foremost. And I've got to say, the feedback from them was brilliant. They thought you all did a fantastic job. So very well done indeed. Those strength intervals at the end looked super tough, and then going into that final effort as well has given them a little bit more of an idea as to how you're performing. And so, of course, we have asked them to nominate their riders of the day, and they did say it was a really, really, really tough one.
It was. I'll start with the women finalists, because that's who I was following again today. Today's rider of the day is... Caitlin. Well done to you, Caitlin. For two reasons. The first of which was that they did have some reservations about what your bike handling might be, because you come to the sport slightly later. They were super impressed with how comfortable you were in a bunch and with the pros, etc. Lars was with you as well, so of course he was seeing it firsthand. The other reason was how you attacked that final climb. You gave everything from the start, so even though Mort overtook you towards the end, they were impressed that you gave it your all and played your cards.
Right then, guys, over to you then. So, rider of the day, as I said, was a super tough one. You had a time trial at the end there, of which, Sam, you were the winner. But on the basis of the other drills today, they've actually gone for Cooper. Again, congratulations. So, I think the lead out was fantastic from all of you. They did say that you should have been on the right-hand side of the road, not the left, and you needed to get there first. But Your sprint against one of the best sprinters in the world, they said was a cracking effort, and then to back that up with a really solid ride on a 3K hill climb as well, made them really sit up and take notice. So well done, Cooper.
Well done.
Right, okay guys. Fantastic day. We will see you again tomorrow.
Super stoked to get rider of the day today.
It's a bit of a shock, but I'm super happy. That's really excited.
Just made sure that I really attacked everything that I did and just try to implement all my skills to show the coaches, and obviously it worked today.
So that brings us to the end of day 2 here at the Zwift Academy Finals. I've got to say, Dan, I was quite surprised at the Alpecin-Fenix rider of the day. Not that Cooper didn't deserve it, but it was such a close-run thing. And given that Sam won that final test, I don't know, I mean, it feels like they're prioritising that kind of punchy rider, and at the moment, I guess Cooper is top of the pile.
Yeah, a very specific type of rider, maybe. Contrary to that, I haven't really been able to glean anything from the Canyon SRAM judges. So it was Maud yesterday was rider of the day, today it was Caitlin. But I have got no idea, really, who they're thinking about for that pro contract for next year.
No, I've been able to glean something about one of the Canyon SRAM judges, and that is that Lars is seriously hard, stopping the riders from changing gear on their final efforts. Yeah. Oh, my word.
That did seem quite harsh, didn't
Savagery.
It? But not as harsh as what's coming tomorrow, because it is the first of the eliminations. And all the finalists will be taking on a very tough race on day 3.
That's right, a Zwift race. It's going to be tough. We'll see you then.
Coming up on the Zwift Academy Finals. The finalists are tested in a Mallorcan storm. There is a points race battle.
All the way to the top.
And we have our first eliminations.
2 of you will be leaving the competition tonight. Your Zwift Academy dreams will end here.